My name is Roger D. Wilson, and I'm a film scientist. To me, a film scientist is, well, you break it down, experimental film scientist. So experiment, you're experimenting with something unknown, you're challenging yourself. A film is a piece of cellulose, emulsion coated, sensitive to light. And a scientist is someone who has an idea and they want to kind of solve it and figure it out and test things. So that's why I call myself a scientist, because I'm constantly kind of finding different ways of doing things. Like, what can I do? What can I take film and what can I do to it? How can I study it, kind of thing? And find new ways of using it and try to, because film's been around for so long. Film's been around, and it's always been kind of this medium that a lot of people kind of go to. But it kind of, at one point, it was like it was discovered and they kind of worked it out, and then it was kind of, a lot of it was kind of then, okay, well, we have it perfected, let's not go any farther. But there's still so much to do. I just recently did a residency here at Daimon, and I learned that I can process black and white film with grape juice. So, 99 cents for a thing of Welch's grape juice if you ever need to process film in the middle of somewhere where you can't get the developers. One program that I really like that I've been inspired by over the years is through the Canadian Film Institute and their Cafe X program. I find that if you want to look at experimental work, that is the program to check out. And usually they have 3 or 4 artists a year, so it's not all the time, but definitely they always bring in very interesting artists. That's one thing I find that Ottawa's missing is experimental work. Available Light, they do some programming. IFCO does some programming, but not, like, it's usually a mix of experimental, narrative, that sort of thing. There's not a really huge opportunities to see experimental work on a regular basis. So that's something I think Ottawa needs. Well, I've always been inspired by Norm McLaren. So he was an NFB filmmaker. His process and just how he explored the different techniques and that kind of inspired me, but also Phil Hoffman, Rick Hancock, who is actually from Ottawa as well. There's so many, Amanda Dawn Christie, and local too, Kelly Egan, who is kind of between Ottawa and Peterborough and Toronto, but her work as well, very talented, very experimental as well. And Steve Wolish. There's so many Canadian, mainly Canadian filmmakers. There's tons of filmmakers all around the world that work with the medium like I do, but there's a lot in Canada, so a lot of my inspiration comes from them. I just finished actually also a film called Baked Goods for Norman. And that film is a color film, and it was for a tribute to Norm McLaren's 100th anniversary of his birth. And the film was entirely made by baking it in the oven, so I did a few different things and mixed it with sugar and things like that, different food colors, and baked it in the oven about 5 times, each time about 30 minutes kind of thing. So the film was completely cooked in my oven. That's how it was created. When I was in film school, I was taught that film is very sensitive. You have to treat it a certain way, or you're just going to waste it. And I've learned that that's totally a load of crap. You can do so much. I've buried film in the ground for months on end, and then taken it out and cleaned it off, run it through my camera, and have been able to expose images on it. The only thing that harms film is direct light. That is all it's going to do. So if you treat it properly, you can do tons of stuff with it. Also, just watching other, whenever you can, go to screenings and watch other people's work, because the inspiration kind of leads to you getting up and just doing it kind of thing as well.